Oh no! My players won't take my quest hooks. What do I do? We talked about this common D&D problem in the player behavior video a couple weeks back, and focused on communication as the solution. However, sometimes it's true that the quest hook and ultimately the location that you want the players to explore just doesn't seem very enticing. So in this video, we're going to break down a pretty cool quest location I recently designed with my cartographer pal Siren's Maps to explain what makes a quest location the kind of place your players want to explore. Because I'm Bob, this is where we learn how to have more fun playing D&D together, and incarceration in Last Walk Prison is a death sentence reserved for persons convicted of only the most vile and hateful crimes. Adventurers may visit here to pry information from the hopeless folk behind its unforgiving bars, or for the same reason that many commoners travel near and far to this cold hole in the ground, to watch with vengeful eyes as the condemned walk down the dark path to their doom far below. I think that sounds like a pretty cool quest location. Here's why. 1. The name. Last Walk Prison is short, self-explanatory, evocative, and easy to remember. Think of the Caves of Hunger from Icewind Dale. Sounds spooky and dangerous. The Mines of Moria from Lord of the Rings. They might not know what Moria is, but mines have monsters and treasure. And bonus points to Tolkien for using alliteration, because that makes the name even easier to remember. Seriously, if your players can't remember the name you told them or need to ask you how to spell it, those aren't deal breakers for a location, but from the very beginning, you're building up resistance to them actually checking this place out. 2. The legends. This place is described as a death sentence reserved for persons convicted of only the most vile and hateful crimes. That sounds tragic and brutal, and as an adventurer, I want to check that out. Look at this extremely reflective DCC module, Sailors on the Starless Sea. It starts with 10 random rumors you can give to your players to lure them to the main quest location. Classic D&D modules almost always included these rumors and legends because they work, so you should too. And 3, the activities. Pry information from the helpless folk behind its unforgiving bars, or watch this strange and terrible mode of execution by exile into the Underdark. Literally telling the players what opportunities await them at this location. And that's just the hook. What makes this location genuinely explorable is all a matter of what's inside and how it's presented to the players. Naturally, you want to begin with a brief but flavorful descriptive scene. No, this is not an ad for Describe. With a long, aching creak, the thick iron door of Last Walk Prison opens before you. Tall gray columns flank the portal, carved from the shale outcrop and decorated with bas-reliefs of humanoid figures descending a spiral path and fading away. Through the portal and down a few stairs, a human guard addresses you plainly from behind a worn wooden desk with a blue glowing lantern. Visit, message, or delivery. Now, your players are in the zone, and by ending the scene with an in-character question to the party, it instantly sets you up for roleplay. This particular place only has a few rooms, because you don't want your party to be overwhelmed unless wandering through a dungeon is what they were promised. But your party probably came to Last Walk Prison to get information, Silence of the Lamb style, from a villainous NPC imprisoned here. You could make your own, but I give to you Albor the Cobra. Albor Copran appears as a hairless, middle-aged dwarven man with fangs and pale skin, completely tattooed with infernal script. He was born into a wealthy family of clerics and healers. Held to impossible standards by his parents and instructors in divine studies, Albor fled and sought magic from other sources. His unknown hellish patron granted him vampirism, and Albor concocted the potion known as VV, vampire venom, or Fang. The addictive drug creates a temporary state of undeath during which the user feels none of the physical, mental, or emotional suffering from their mortal life. Over decades, Albor gained immense wealth and built a far-reaching drug empire, but was eventually betrayed by his envious underbosses, who then destroyed each other and Albor's legacy in their war for control. For creating and distributing a drug that destroyed tens of thousands of lives, Albor was sentenced with 3 centuries incarceration before his last walk. Albor's patron telepathically taunts him with updates on the criminal underworld, so he has up-to-date information on other powerful drug manufacturers, smugglers, bosses, and their corrupt political contacts. For extremely valuable information, he requests that the party bring him a dose of VV, which is now illegal, exceedingly rare, and priceless to eccentric collectors. I think it's incredibly important for any and every explorable location to include at least one NPC who has enough detail for you as a DM to feel comfortable role-playing them. Not necessarily doing a voice or anything, but just trying to embody their attitude, because that NPC is your party's interface with this location. That NPC is the personification of this place. And what would a quest location be without monsters? Last Walk Prison includes just 3 bullet-pointed encounters for you to choose from, because it should be very rare that monsters are coming up into this prison, but since your PCs are the main characters, it should happen on one of their visits. For your own locations, be sure to choose monsters that match your quest location's environment, or have a good explanation in mind for why that blue dragon wormling is on a temperate island instead of in the desert. And hey, if you want to download a pretty PDF for Last Walk Prison, it's available on my Patreon, and the map is available on Siren's Patreon, but the whole thing, map and PDF, is on DriveThruRPG, links below. Thanks for your support, and keep building. Oh, my players just aren't taking my quest hooks.